Good afternoon, good evening, councillors. Welcome to the Development Assessment Committee, Wednesday the 14th of December. I'll open the meeting and call for any apologies. We have one apology from Councillor Berry and Councillor Tatchell. Two apologies. In accordance with Moorabool Shire Council's governance rules, the meeting will be live streamed and recorded. Could I have someone confirm the minutes from our meeting on Wednesday the 16th of November 2022? Councillor Dudzik, second to Councillor Minari. All in favour? Carried. Councillors, any matters arising from the previous minutes? No. I'll call for councillors for any disclosure of conflicts of interests. No disclosures. Okay. We'll move straight to item 7.1, which is a multi-lot stage subdivision creation and variation of easements and removal of vegetation at 174 Mortons Road, Pentland Hills. There is this. Yep. So we have a speaker for item 7.1, Mr. Alan Carlson, and we have Alan online.
Yes, here I am. Good evening.
Good evening, Alan.
And thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm the manager of the Underbank Development, and I'd like to talk about our application for the approval of the planning permit for the next stage of Underbank. This application is the second and final part of the Parkview Precinct, and it connects to the already approved Parkview Precinct Part 1 and more broadly to the remainder of Underbank. The proposed subdivision responds to the unique characteristics of the land, including topography and the interface with the Western Freeway. As is discussed in the report prepared by Council's planning team, the application has undergone review by multiple referral agencies as well as internal council departments. This has resulted in what we consider to be the best development outcome for the site. The proposed subdivision provides for 141 lots ranging from 444 square metres to 979 square metres, allowing for the accommodation of a variety of dwelling types to meet the needs of the growing population of Moorabool Shire. The proposed lot sizes reflect the intent of the Underbank Development Plan, which seeks to provide larger lots in areas of significant slope. The proposed subdivision layout will provide for 2 areas of open space, which are proposed to be developed with play equipment, interactive features and kickabout spaces for residents to utilise and enjoy. These open spaces, as well as the creek environs, will be connected to the broader Underbank development area via a network of shared paths and trails, creating a sense of connectivity between this precinct and the overall Underbank estate. In addition to the provided open space areas, the proposed subdivision will facilitate the ongoing protection of vegetation within the surrounds of both the Corku-Peramore Creek and the associated tributary which forms the eastern and western boundaries of this development. Continuing the outcomes provided for by the approved Parkview Precinct Part 1 development, revegetation of these areas will also occur in accordance with Melbourne Water's requirements. In summary, the proposed subdivision responds positively to the site conditions as well as the Underbank Development Plan. The proposal has been thoroughly reviewed and discussed with council officers and other relevant agencies to ensure the best possible outcome for the site. Based on this, we respectfully request that the committee adopts the recommendations of the planning officer. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alan. Councillors, any questions for Alan or officers in relation to this application?
I have a question for officers, Mr. Mayor.
Yep, Councillor Sullivan.
My question is the officer. Why don't we nominate the number of lots on the proposal rather than having this global multi-lot stage subdivision? Why don't we nominate, everyone's saying 141, why don't we nominate 141? That's what my first question. I have a couple.
So through the chair, it's really done because if there's changes later, you actually have to amend the whole application. So what we say is it's a multi-lot application with 100, and then go through the reporting saying how many. Quite often on those larger subdivisions, there's some minor changes and those lot numbers can change slightly. Yeah.
Okay. That's my question. Just Condition 59 refers to prior to the issue of the statement of compliance for the last stage, the extension to Morton's Road must be constructed. What happens in the interim, because 141 lots is not going to happen in one hit, so there's going to be some staging. What happens in the interim before that last stage, with Morton's Road, that is?
Henry or Rob, will you take that question?
So through the chair, the staging, from my recollection, it won't go all the way to Morton's Road initially. So the staging is done in stages, I suppose, that come up to that. So that's why it's been left to the last stage.
Okay. Last question, if I may, Mr Mayor. On condition 33, prior to the issue of the statement of compliance for the relevant stage, all noxious weeds and mulch on the land must be eradicated to the satisfaction of the responsible authority. Having sort of viewed that site, I would have thought that's a Herculean task, wouldn't it? So is that possible or not?
Again, I'll defer to Henry or Rob to answer item 33.
Through the chair, in our view, it can be done, yeah.
If there's no further questions for Alan, I do thank you for your attendance. Councillors, we do have a recommendation. Someone like to move that?
So moved, Mr Mayor.
Move Councillor Edwards. Seconded Councillor Sullivan. All in favour? Carried. Thank you, Alan.
Thank you very much.
Item 7.2 is for the development and use of a dwelling and auxiliary shed at Tierney's Road, Dunstown. Again, we have a speaker, Joanne Pearce, and I understand Joanne's online to speak on this application.
Through the chair, while you're waiting. Sorry.
Good evening, Joanne. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes. Joanne, the floor is yours. We're obviously speaking to item 7.2 and you've registered to speak, so please go ahead.
Oh, thank you. I'm surprised that you've got to this point already. I appreciate you letting me speak. Our client is unfortunately unable to attend tonight. He really wishes to have the opportunity to address the council prior to them making their decision. So for that reason, it's requested that the item be deferred to the next available meeting. I understand that may not be until February next year, but the client and owner is willing to, forego that time and wait, as he would really like to be able to address you personally.
Okay. We do have the alternate motion. Councillor Dudzik, you have put forward an alternate motion for 7.2. Would you like to move the alternate motion or would you like to defer? Councillor Edwards?
Just a question, if I may. Just in relation to deferring, does that put council at risk of being able to go to VCAT for not being able to make a decision within the required timeframe?
Through the chair, that is a possibility, yes.
Joanne, we might just pause for a moment to discuss this because we do have an alternate motion that had been tabled prior to this meeting. So if we could just pause for a moment to discuss this item and we'll get back to you in a moment.
Yep. Am I able to make an undertaking on behalf of the client that they would not be seeking hearing through VCAT for failure to determine? I believe that council's already over the 60-day processing time anyway, and the client's not wanting to go down that path.
Thank you, Joanne. What we'll do is we note that undertaking and we will suspend standing orders for a moment to discuss this and we'll get back to you in a moment.
Okay then, thank you.
I'll move that we suspend standing orders.
Moved Councillor Edwards, second to Councillor Sullivan. All in favour? Thank you.
Mr Mayor, if I may lead, I think the applicant's representative Sorry about that, mumbling away to myself. If the applicant's representative has indicated that the applicant would prefer to have this matter deferred, but if that were the case, I think there needs to be something come in post-meeting to sort of basically follow that up, so that the point that we're over the 60 days, as Ms Pearce has already said, I mean, and the fact that you wouldn't get a hearing until September next year, I doubt very much it's going to happen, that they'd be... so it's really a matter of whether we do defer it as requested, or we deal with the alternate motion as nominated by Councillor Dudzik. So that's where we're at, I suppose.
Edwards?
Yeah, I'd just like to check with the planning staff that they have no issues with deferring till February.
Through the chair, there's no issues on deferring it, no.
So in your hands, Councillor Dudzik, we have the alternate motion. Would you like to defer this?
I'll move we resume standing orders if there's no other questions.
Okay, resume standing orders.
To defer the item to the next...
Councillor Dudzik, sorry, pardon me, we have a notice...
I'll move that we resume standing orders.
Second to Councillor Sullivan. All in favour? Over to you, Councillor Dudzik.
I move that we defer this item to the next STAC meeting, and please make sure the alternative's available for that meeting also.
Thank you very much. Does someone second that? Councillor Sullivan, all in favour? Thank you. So item deferred to the next STAC meeting. Thank you, Joanne.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate
the item's been
appreciate your
deferred.
time. Okay, then will we be receiving any formal notice or indication of that?
Yes, you will. Looking over to Rob.
Through the chair, the item will be deferred, so that'll be in the minutes, and then you'll get notification of when it goes to the next council, same as this one. Thank you.
Yes, no worries. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. So item 7.3 is the development of a residential aged care facility, associated vegetation removal and reduction in car parking at 161 and 168 Inglis Street, 33 Cowie Street and 91 Simpson Street, Balan. So councillors, we have 3 registered speakers on this item. Speaker number 1 is Angela Ash, who I believe is in person. No. No, not online. Yeah. Okay, Angela's registered to speak, but she's not here at the moment. So we'll move to speaker number 2, Michelle Lewis, who I understand is online. Not online at the moment. Now, Michelle may come back online. So speaker number 3 is Emma Dukic. And Emma, I trust that's you. Please take a seat, Emma, and get addressed to council regarding this application.
I'm not quite sure where to start. I haven't done this before, so bear with me. I live opposite the site, and so it's quite close to home to me what's happening over there. Firstly, my understanding is it's mainly a change of use from all types of aged care to dementia and end of life only, which is how the developer is justifying removal of open garden space. There's only small light wells, which, you know, in a COVID-safe world, I thought we were meant to be outside and keep people in fresh air. But no one's going to go into those little courtyards because they're like fish bowls. So it's deeply concerning for me. As for dementia care, it just doesn't seem to comply with the VicGov health guidelines of small enclosed spaces. There's no safety for the residents. There's no separation of areas where the staff can actually do their job and cater to the needs of the residents. And yeah, the whole thing just really upsets me. I live across the road, there's already no parking. So the fact they're going for a reduction of car parking when only 2/3 of the site is being developed, there's 1/3 of the site which is vacant, access directly off 2 existing driveways which are remaining, yet they're going for dispensation and nothing's planned on that land. So that affects me personally. As it is, I park over at the GP service because I can't get anywhere near my house. It's quite common, and I'm also usually calling the police to remove cars who are parked over my driveway, so I can't reliably park at the back of my property. Other issues with it are that they're demolishing the memorial garden, which has people's ashes in it. I don't think anyone's actually addressed that issue. Our community-funded garden is going to be removed. That belongs to the people of Ballan. I think it's really unfair. I would have appreciated, in respect to the community, some kind of design that incorporates our garden, which the people who are enclosed in these tiny little spaces, no real access to the outside world, can get vitamin D, which is important for bone health, not breaking bones, their immune system and their mental health. It would have been quite easily achievable to create some kind of design with enough open space to get sunlight and fresh air, and either leave that garden for the community, which is our garden, or give it to the residents. Another issue is, what haven't I covered? And the deletion of the hospital. Like, people are dying waiting for ambulances. Why are they demolishing our hospital? It's over 36 kilometres to other hospitals which aren't fully equipped. Can my daughter come up here, please? I'd just like to present, this is the real world of living in Ballan. My daughter, playing next door, fell from this high. Where's your arm? She sliced her arm open right down to the bone. I was under the opinion that the hospital was still there. I rush her over, her bone's sticking out. It's closed. I fall to pieces. I'm not the only one. Everyone in Ballan at some point is going to need access for stabilisation until an ambulance comes. A year ago, I lost my colleague. I work for an architect. 3 ambulances cancelled. She died pretty much in my arms. So I know the realistic of what happens when we don't have medical services. So I'm just left pulling my hair out. All of us have sacrificed 2.5 years of our life, 2.5 years of our children's education to protect the elderly and keep them COVID safe. And I do not see a single thing in this development that respects what we've been through and protects them.
Thank you, Emma.
There's no separation, there's nothing.
Thank you, Emma. Thank you very much for your presentation. Councillors, any questions for Emma? Councillor Dudzik.
Question for officers.
Yes.
I've not heard of the community garden before, and I'm wondering if officers have heard of it, and the existence of ashes. Has that been considered in this report?
So through the chair, we were aware of the community garden, but you have to understand that this is now in private ownership.
And it's correct that there's people's ashes there?
Through the chair, that's not something we were aware of.
I can get proof of that. There are people in that nursing home waiting to be scattered with their husbands. I can get proof of that.
Councillors, any other questions for Emma or officers? Emma, thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
I understand we have our first speaker for the item, 7.3, Angela Ash. Angela?
Good afternoon all, and my sincere apologies for the delayed arrival. I had 4 car accidents on the way to navigate, so held me up a little bit. Firstly, I'd just like to say I'm here on behalf of Mequacare as the permit applicant, and we'd just like to acknowledge the CEO, Derek Madden, and his extended team's efforts in working with us over an extended period to put together this application. and in particular, I'd like to point out the planning team and the work that they've done and how they've conducted themselves in such a professional manner. So I think it's important to note that. I understand that the nature of this application and change is always highly emotive. So I just do want to thank Emma for her time in both the consultation meeting and for coming here today. So we do appreciate that feedback. I suppose this application has come about in response to an identified need by Mecwa Care for these facilities. So I can't talk to the history of the former hospital, but it is no longer there. But this is about looking forward into the future and the redevelopment of this site to provide for a service that is in need for this community. Now, in terms of some of the, I suppose, concerns that you've heard this evening about the application, the architects that have prepared this plan have worked closely with landscape architects to design the internal courtyard spaces to be an area of high amenity. And furthermore, the conditions that the officers are recommending through the agenda that has been presented to you tonight seeks to further enhance those spaces in terms of incorporation of seating, incorporation of additional landscaping, planters and the like. So we see that those, together with the individual balconies that service a number of the rooms, do provide a level of improved amenity from what currently exists. And at its heart, that's what this application is about, improving the facilities for residents. Mecwa Care, as an operator, have a number of facilities across Victoria, and they've proven themselves to put community needs, resident needs at the forefront of their designs. So we're confident the design has been well considered. It's been informed by an extensive package of consultant material, which has in turn been assessed by the council. As to the community garden question, I'm not aware of ashes being scattered, but in terms of the context of the decision to be made tonight, I would say that's probably outside of the realm of the planning application, if you will. And to be clear, it has historically been used as a community garden, but as was pointed out, it is in private ownership. So the proposal is that garden will ultimately be removed. As to the timing of that, it's something that would happen at later stages of the development because it is away from the primary area of works. I'm happy to take any questions, should there be any.
Councillors, any questions for Angela or subsequent questions for officers?
I have a question of officers in due course, Mr Mayor.
No other questions? Okay. Councillor Sullivan, got a question for officers?
Oh, how many car parks will be lost in this process? I know that it talks about car parking, reduction in car parking at 116, 168 and 33 Cowie Street and 91 Simpson Street. How many will be lost in total, or reduced rather?
Rob, you happy to take that question?
Yeah, so through the chair, there's no actual car parks being lost per se. It's just because there's additional rooms that are going in there, there's additional car parking requirements. So, and that's why the extra two are required, because I think there's nine extra rooms. It's going from 51 to 60.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Minari.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. My question is for probably Ms Lewis and officers. I suppose it's for the whole room. Is it a common occurrence to spread ashes at an aged care facility? I didn't realise that was a common occurrence, and I suppose we're trying to nut this out on, because it's obviously something that's, you know, a bit personal for people, and it's a major decision for us, and I feel that this is something that we almost need to sort of get to the bottom of before we move forward. So, yeah, I don't know if anyone has the answer. So, yeah, I thought I'd just throw the question out there.
Through you, Chair, I'm not sure, to be honest, but I suppose in theory ashes could be scattered anywhere. So, you know, there could be ashes that were scattered on this very site. So, and I don't see that the role of the planning process or planning approvals process is to has any bearing on whether there are ashes or not. And I certainly wouldn't be of the view that we should delay any decision on the application for that, but I'm keen to hear what the officers have to say on that issue.
Rob?
Through the chair, it's not a planning issue, and I have no idea in relation to the question. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Councillors, any additional questions?
Question, if I may.
Yes, Councillor Sullivan.
I do note on the introductory part of the report, I think it says there are 5 parcels of land. Is it correct? I can't find it when I... Yeah, lot size. So is this going to be consolidated, or is it still going to remain as 5 parcels and going to build across multiple parcels?
Through you, Chair, I can probably answer that one. So the intention is that there will be a separate application that seeks to essentially neaten up, if you will, the title situation. And that's the reason for that is twofold, because there is an easement that traverses north-south through essentially the centre of the area of the works. And so
Could I say I was actually addressing the officers? Do you mind?
I'm sorry.
It was a question to officers. Thank you.
Officers? Rob?
So through the chair, the answer is we don't have a condition in relation to that. It's historically the site's been over those parcels.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councillors, any other questions? No? Thank you, Angela.
Thank you.
Michelle's not available online? So our second speaker who'd registered to speak, Michelle, who's actually the applicant, is not available. So, councillors, we have an alternate motion which has been received, and that is that there's a recommendation to approve with the removal of conditions through to 18, which were detailed, 18 to 20, which were detailed in the agenda.
Through the chair, it's 17 to 20. My apologies. There was a typo on that.
There's a typo. Okay, we'll put up the alternate motion that a recommendation to approve with the removal of conditions 17 to 20, which were detailed in the agenda. Do I have someone who will move that motion?
Yeah, I'll move that the Development Assessment Committee support the officer's recommendation and remove conditions 17 through 20, which were detailed in the agenda.
Thank you, Councillor Edwards. Anyone second the alternate motion?
I'll second it with a small change with the movers thing that the others be all renumbered then. Otherwise we're going to have a hiatus between...
So accepted. So move Councillor Edwards, seconded Councillor Sullivan with that renumbering of after the removal of conditions 17 through to 20. We have a move and we have a second. All in favour? Motion's carried. Thank you. Thank you to our speakers for attending this evening. Councillors, we'll move on to item 8, update on VCAT decisions.
Mr Mayor, there's no update tonight.
No update. Item 9, other business. Councillors, I do have one item I'll mention during other business, but I'll go around the table first and see if there's any other items. Councillor Sullivan?
No other business, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Minari?
No, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Dudzik?
No, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Edwards? Councillors, it's come to my attention that after 12 years with the Mirrabul Shire Council, that our Manager of Statutory Planning and Regulatory Services, Rob Village, this is his last Development Assessment Committee with Council. He's leaving the Mirrabul Shire, so I will hand over to Henry, Executive Manager, to say a few words in a moment. But on behalf of everyone in Mirrabul Shire, Rob, we do thank you for your services over those 12 years and your contribution to Mirrabul Shire. Henry.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Just want to repeat what you said. Thank you to Rob. He's been with Council for 12 years. He started out as a secondment from Ballarat when I was still at Ballarat, and he ended up moving through to a manager. I think he's provided a lot of advice and service to councils, the community and internal departments. He got opportunity to move to Ararat as a senior manager, reporting through to the CEO, and I think it's a great opportunity. It's a great career opportunity after 12 years. And I think it's going to be difficult to find a replacement. I'll just definitely have to do more preparation before these meetings with Rob not here. But from my side and on behalf of the Council, thank you, Rob. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Henry.
Thanks to all. It's been a pleasure working here.
Councillor Sullivan?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I would like to add my Well, sort of condolences and congratulations, I suppose. It's sort of, I'm not quite sure how, I'd like to pay tribute to the way that Mr Phyllis rather, has conducted himself over the time at Wirrabul. I've been here the full length and time of his duration here. He has a common sense, practical and pragmatic approach, and he's been able to assist people, always trying to find a solution to a problem that comes through a planning things, because sometimes you've got to, what people are trying to achieve, he's been able to work through that and assist them to get to the outcome they want, and also his sage advice has been welcomed, I think, by all members of the community and the development community as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Sullivan, and again, we endorse all those kind words. Thank you for your service to Mirrabul Shire, Rob. Councillors, the date of our next meeting will be 15th of February 2023, the next Development Assessment Committee. So thank you very much for your attendance tonight, and I'll close the meeting. Thank you.